Welcome to this special segment of Recovery TV. If you're a therapist that is doing online therapy or you are transitioning to online therapy, then you are in the right spot, so don't go anywhere. Welcome to Recovery TV. I really appreciate you joining in because if you're watching this, you likely are a therapist that is doing online therapy or you're considering transitioning over to online therapy. And I wanted to share with you 6 tips that will help you create more of a safe environment for your clients as you're doing this. These 6 tips that I'm going to share are really small things that you can do, but they make a big difference. So I hope you'll find benefit in the things that I have to share with you today. So online therapy can be a really good thing, even though there are some challenges with it. I don't know if there's ever going to be something that's going to replace the benefit that people find in sitting in the same room and in the same space and processing through difficult topics or difficult situations. But there is a place for online therapy in our world, and I'm grateful that we have it because there's a lot of people that would not be getting the help that they need without it. But one of the issues that we have is the disconnect that comes with it, and I think there are a few little things, few small changes that we therapists can make to make it an even better experience for our clients and help them feel safe and even more connected. So let's begin. The first tip I want to share with you really comes from the video production world, and that is how good is the lighting. And so obviously we want to have good audio. As you guys can see here, I'm using a microphone with mine, which I do use this when I'm doing online therapy. You see, it's just a little snowball mic here that I have plugged into my computer. Having your good internet connection and things like that's important. But lighting is really important. You can see here on the pictures that I posted is a side-by-side of me with the light turned off and the light turned on. And so all I have in this room, and this is actually our conference room, is I'm sitting at a table with my computer and I have the overhead lights on, and behind me I have a softbox light that is often used for photography or video production. And they're not very expensive if you can get something like that, but really just having good overhead will do the trick, or get a lamp up by you will help create good lighting. But it's really difficult for clients, if while you're doing work, if they can't see your face. The second thing that we often don't think about is where to look when we're doing the online therapy. So a lot of people are looking at their screen when you should be looking at your camera. But this is hard because when you're doing therapy, you want to be able to see how their faces and their bodies are responding to what you're talking about. So let me just show you the difference real quickly. This is me looking at the screen, and this is me looking at the camera or looking at you right now. And so there's a difference because it feels different when I'm making eye contact. So obviously when you're doing online therapy, you need to do some check-ins, but you also got to pay attention to how they're responding. And you might even tell them, like, if they see you looking away, it's just because you're checking some things on your screen or you're looking down at some notes or something if you have notes in front of you. But just to forewarn them that if you're looking down or looking away, you're not disconnecting from them. The third thing I would ask you to do is to have a box of tissues handy and make sure they have tissues with them. The reason for this is because in therapy, when people get emotional, we often offer them a tissue. And there is something really nice, really healing and loving about somebody caring enough to offer you a tissue. But that is taken away from us usually through online therapy because we are not in their physical presence to hand them a tissue. And I noticed this when I was doing online therapy with someone and they started to get emotional, and it kind of got a little awkward because I usually would hand them a tissue. But how do you do that online? Well, I really don't think it's that complicated. It might feel a little weird to you, but when you see them getting emotional or upset and you normally would offer them a tissue, just grab your box of tissue and just ask them to say, hey, would you take a tissue? And then they can reach from their tissue box and grab one. Obviously, you're not expecting them to reach up through the screen and grab a tissue out of the box. So you really do need to make sure that they have their own box present. And so when it comes time for you To show that nurturance and that concern by offering a tissue, you will have the means available to you to do that. The fourth one is very simple. It's to be flexible. We just need to remember that when we're doing therapy in our office, they are coming into our domain and we are in more control there. It's a very controlled environment usually. But when we are doing online therapy, we are in our domain, but they are in their domain, and it often isn't as controlled. And so that might mean that, sometimes a kid runs through or someone walks in, and all you can really do is just encourage them to take care of the things they need to take care of. Obviously, you don't want them to be in a room where people are constantly coming in and out of, or in a public area, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that, like parents having to parent kids, or someone coming to the door during the middle of their session and they need to get up and answer it, or any of the other unpredictable things that could happen like that. Just be flexible and encourage them to take care of the things that they need to take care of, and then you'll pick back up when they're able to refocus. So be flexible. The fifth thing I'd encourage you to do is have a backup plan. So a lot of you might be using Doxy.me or Zoom, and there are definitely some other confidential or HIPAA compliant platforms out there, but just have that backup plan ready, just in case something happens with that platform, that you can direct them to another platform and you guys can resume the therapy. And I would recommend having a second and a third option to your primary option. The last thing that I'd recommend is to have a ritualized departure. I don't think we realize how ritualized our sessions are when we end a session. We usually have a certain thing that we do, certain behaviors we exhibit. We'll usually reschedule them maybe, or walk them out the door, but there's a certain ritual that we go through with almost every client when the session is coming to a close and they are departing from our office. But with online therapy, it can end just real abruptly. You can just say, okay, that's it, and then you click the end meeting button and it's all over. I would encourage you to come up with some form of ritualized closing to your sessions so that it doesn't have such an abrupt ending. You might even have them click off of their screen before you end the meeting. So guys, I'm no expert to online therapy by any means, but these were just some of the things that I had noticed when I was doing online therapy that just felt amiss, and it didn't have to be. Feel free to tell me what you think about doing these 6 things in the comments below, and also feel free to add any suggestions that you have found helpful in the comments below. Thanks for watching this and supporting this channel.